What's up, everybody? This is the Chicago Sports Talk. Michael back at it again with another video / topic. This is honestly my hot take. Well, not hot take. It's really a bold take, and it shouldn't be obvious to some diehard Bears fans that are watching this or some casual watching this, but in case because there's retards in this fan base that think quarterback's the problem. Head coach is the problem, which I do agree. Head coach is the problem. General manager is the problem, but they never look at the big picture. Who hires these dumb fucks? I'll tell you who the problem is. The McCaskeys. Yes, I have said it. The McCaskeys are the problem of the Bears, and I'm going to explain why in full detail. From my time watching the Bears, from the 2010 era to currently right now, let's start from the 2010, when we got to the NFC title game and lost to the Green Bay Packers. We had 2 seasons where Lovie Smith's records were actually solid, and the ownership fired him after a 10-6 season. And I get it for the most part because they saw what Drew Brees did. They saw what Tom Brady did, or Peyton Manning, and says, hey, we have to get with the times of what the NFL is, because the NFL is getting more of a passing league. They had 2 choices: Bruce Arians or Mark Trestman. Mind you this, the Chicago Bears ownership allowed Bill Polian to choose their next head coach. And they have 2 candidates, Bruce Arians and Mark Trestman. Who do they go with? Obviously, you would think it's Bruce Arians, because Bruce Arians actually did a hell of a job for the Cardinals. Got them to a Super Bowl and somehow resurrected Carson Palmer's career. Who did the McCaskeys go with? Mark Trestman, who I knew from the get-go he was going to be bad. What did he do? What's his resume? Have a top offensive league, have a top 5 offense in the CFL, not the CFL, the CFL, the Canadian Football League, a different league than the National Football League. Who had the better resume? Bruce Arians got the team to the Super Bowl and made Carson Palmer look presentable, or Mark Trestman, whose resume looked better? Bruce Arians. Then, obviously, 2013, when our offense was actually putting up points, but we had the worst defense, and once again, the Packers ruining our playoff hopes once again. And then the following year, he gets fired, and we clean house. We fire the general manager. We fire the head coach. Guess who we brought in next? Ryan Pace. And then Bill Polian, once again, the McCaskeys trust and believe that he will get this right. Who do we hire? John Fox. Because he coached Peyton Manning. What was our record back-to-back years, I believe? 5-11. And our defense looked better under John Fox, but our offense still looked awful. And when Jay Cutler completely gave up on the Bears, he quit. The Bears gave him a long-term extension. And right after that, the Bears cut him. And they keep John Fox for a year. It says that we need a quarterback. which I don't mind getting a new quarterback because they wanted him because Jay Cutler really didn't provide anything for the Bears because he's their best quarterback. I mean, he is the best quarterback of Chicago Bears history, even though the Bears completely fucked him over. Who do they bring in? Mike Glennon, a guy that threw 28 touchdowns and 12 interceptions when he was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback. And you can't wait for this, the draft, the 2017 draft, where it all began. Us trading with the 49ers because we were worried that they were going to take Trubisky. We took Trubisky over Mahomes. Granted, no one knew about Mahomes. And Deshaun Watson. What does do in his first year under head coach John Fox? 5-11. Then Bill Polian, once again getting into the head coaching talks, he brings in Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, his first year, 12-4. 12-4. Got us to the playoffs. Double doink. One coach of the year. Played to his quarterback's strengths. What happens the next year in 2019? 8-8. Quarterback regresses. We still get reminded of the 2017 draft. 2020. What does Matt Nagy do after a 2-0 start? He benches quarterback Mitch Trubisky after it was looking like he was going to have a bad game against the Falcons. He brings in Nick Foles, who I know from the get-go that he wanted to start Nick Foles the whole season. And then what do we get? A 7-game losing streak. We barely even squeaked into the playoffs because of the NFL rules saying that there should be a 7 seed, which was absolutely ridiculous because no one ever wanted to see that shit because we got backshotted by washed-up Drew Brees in New Orleans. And what does this ownership do? They don't fire Ryan. They don't fire both Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy. Do you want to know what they did? They kept them and they got rid of Mitch Trubisky. Even though I said it once and I'll say it again, Mitch was never the problem. It was the coaching staff and offensive line who the Bears, like I said, the Bears, and this gets interesting because I'm not gonna stop on this team. This gets interesting. It never made sense whatsoever to get rid of Mitch when you're going to keep the same coach and same general manager. Then, remember all the talks about having Russell Wilson, and then this organization signs Andy Dalton. Then, going into the draft where we traded up to get Justin Fields, the most talented quarterback that the Bears have ever had. First season under head coach Matt Nagy. What was our record? 6-11. At the end of the season, reset button once again. Fired both Nagy and Pace. And then we brought in Ryan Poles. And once again, George McCaskey says at the end of the year, we're going to trust Bill Polian to pick our next head coach. 3 candidates, Jim Cardwell, Dan Quinn, Matt Eberflus. 2 of them have a better resume. We go with Matt Eberflus. Once again, hired him. First season, 3-14. This year is 2-6. Do you want to know what you are, what your record says you are? The slogan, you are what your record says you are. Guess how many wins Matt Eberflus has had as the Bears head coach? 5-20. Do you want to know how many Mark Trestman had? 13 or 14. I can't remember the exact. Guess how many wins John Fox had? 14, I think so. Guess how many wins Matt Nagy had? 33, I think, and a head coach of the year award, you're worse than those head coaches that I just said. How many times are we going to hit the reset button when you fail to do so because you trust Bill Polian to pick your next head coach when Bill Polian has proven time and time again that he can't do it? So why let Bill Polian do it when you could just have the general manager do it? Like, how many times? And I get a lot of the blame too is on Ryan Poles because he had a lot of money this offseason and had the first overall pick to address the offensive line. We signed Nate Davis, who absolutely has not seen the field as much. We decide to keep Cody Whitehair as a offensive lineman when he's been a liability for us. A massive L on Ryan Poles. Should have drafted a center in the fourth round, Luke Wyper. I get people want to say, oh, why not John, whatever, however you say his name. Well, guess what? I disagree because I feel like Tyreek Stevenson's a good cornerback. But honestly, I would have taken a center over who the hell over a damn cornerback, Terrell Smith. Because believe it or not, Luke Wyper was still available. But we kept him. It's been 10 years. Actually, no. I don't even remember the last time the Bears had a elite offensive line. Last time I can remember when the offensive line was average for the most part was 2018. God, why? It could be such a good time to work for the McCaskeys for 1 year. I wish, hey, McCaskeys, if you ever need me to be your next head coach, hire me. Because I won't show any discipline. Like, I could basically just not give a fuck for the whole season. And guess what? I'll still get paid because the McCaskeys don't do season firings. Imagine if Matt Eberflus was on a different team, like, I don't know, the Cardinals, I don't know, the Panthers. He would have been gone a long time ago. But the McCaskeys want to keep him around because they believe he'll turn around the season. Well, guess what? You are what your record says you are. 5-20. At least Mark Trestman had the Bears as a top 5 scoring offense. At least John Fox had a good defense for the most part of his career. At least Nagy got the Bears to 2 playoff appearances and has a Coach of the Year trophy to show for it. What have you done, Matt Eberflus? Nothing. And this falls on ownership for hiring you. When do Bears fans realize this? You could keep bringing up the Joe Burrow example, but you know damn well if Joe Burrow was here, he wouldn't do the exact same thing he did in Cincinnati. You could keep bringing up Patrick Mahomes, which is why I said we have a quarterback graveyard. We have 30 starting quarterbacks in the league since 2006. That's the most in the NFL. We have a quarterback graveyard because we don't, even when we have the most talented quarterback in Chicago Bears history, that being Justin Fields, you still fail. He doesn't have an offensive line and he doesn't have a coaching staff that can utilize his strengths. Guess who this falls on at the end of the day? We could say how the general manager does this, the general manager does that, but go watch that interview that George McCaskey had when we both fired Pace and Nagy. Go back and watch it. He said, we're going to let Bill Polian choose our next head coach. This will only end when I keep saying this. Virginia, George, If this is your way of honoring your father, you're doing a terrible job. And I'm going to say this to you two in the nicest way possible. You listening? You listening? All right. If you're watching this, I need you to listen to this. Papa Bear does not fucking like you two. Papa Bear's up in heaven right now, shaking his fucking head at your dumbass, old ass cunts. And I can't wait until Papa Bear sees you two go up in heaven, so he can fucking get the belt and whoop your ass for destroying his fucking team. Maybe God will do me a favor and let that shit happen, because honestly, you two fucking deserve it. I don't even think you're going to heaven. You're going straight to hell for ruining this organization and not caring. You care about this. You care about money. You don't care. We Bears fans work our ass off, putting time in our fucking days to hype this garbage ass team up every fucking year. And you can't even deliver it. You're a joke. You're a joke of the organization. You're lucky that we have one Super Bowl. You would have been the laughingstock of the NFL right now. If it wasn't for the Panthers and the Cardinals, you would be the biggest laughingstocks of the NFL right now. I would love to hear a debate from any other team organization like the Cardinals, like the Panthers, like the 49ers. I would love to hear a conversation how your owner is worse. Because the McCaskeys are the worst owners of Chicago, of the NFL. They are the worst owners of all sports history. They ruined what Papa Bear created. And the Bears fans suck their cocks and pussy. And Judah, you still want Pagin to be our starting quarterback, you dumb fuck? Yeah, how did that fucking work out for you? Now you're complaining about players. Well, thanks for proving my point, Judah, that it's beyond the quarterback. Now stick to what you're successful for and stick to how the earth is flat. And maybe when your theory is true, you will walk towards the end of the earth and fucking fall in the middle of the space and fucking die. And no one would miss you. And I hope Virginia and George do the exact same thing that you do. You call this a great franchise? We do not deserve this. I have accepted that when I'm old in a wheelchair and hopefully don't have dementia like my grandpa, I will never see this team win a Super Bowl. Because we have dumb fucks as owners and we have dumb fans that are claimed to be diehard Bears fans. When will it end with you dumb fucks? Scratching your fucking head right now. Preach to me how Bajan is going to be the next Brock Purdy. Well, look at you now. Look at you now. You're dumb. You're a waste. Now, you refuse to listen. You refuse to boycott. You still pay. Cancel your season tickets. Cancel any upcoming games you go to. Because this team and the ownership does not care about you. Stop being the bitches. And no, I'm not saying bear down. Because this team does not deserve to say the slogan.